In related news, Hong Kong will stop shipping goods bound for the United States. That's in response to the new U.S. tariffs on China. Here are the details.
If you are doing some online shopping or already waiting for a package that may be going through Hong Kong, you could be waiting a while. The Chinese city announced that it's suspending postal service to and from the U.S.
Hong Kong exporter Houghton Lee is bracing for a drop in demand for his specialized electronic products sold in the United States.
Now we're keeping a close eye on tariffs impacts. This morning, Hong Kong has suspended its postal service to the U.S.
In a surprising and bold move, Hong Kong has added a dramatic new chapter to the ongoing trade conflict between the United States and China. What began as a tariff war under the Trump administration, with sweeping duties imposed on Chinese goods, has now evolved into a broader geopolitical standoff. Caught in the crossfire is Hong Kong, once hailed as the East gateway to the global economy, now stepping onto center stage with a powerful message. We are suspending air, sea, and postal trade with the United States. This declaration, while largely symbolic in execution, resonated globally. For decades, Hong Kong stood as a vibrant financial and trading hub, a unique crossroads where Western capital met Asian markets. But the Trump administration's decision to include Hong Kong in its punitive trade measures, viewing the city as part of China's unfair trade practices, has pushed the region into a difficult corner. In response, Hong Kong retaliated not only with strong words, but with the suspension of postal services to the U.S., a symbolic yet potent move that signals the severing of even the smallest lines of exchange. A spokesperson from the Hong Kong government remarked, "These tariffs are strangling us. They are trying to take away Hong Kong's lifeline." This sentiment was echoed by a Chinese Communist Party official who denounced Washington's actions as senseless bullying. For many in Hong Kong, this feels like the first time the city has been thrust so directly into the heart of a global power struggle. Trade has long been the lifeblood of Hong Kong's economy, but rising U.S. tariffs and tighter customs checks have made exporting through Hong Kong increasingly expensive and complex. The newly announced restrictions, particularly the halt of official logistics and postal services, will primarily impact small to medium-scale trade. Nevertheless, the symbolic message is clear. Hong Kong is willing to take a stand, even at great cost. Air and sea freight had already been suffering under the weight of increased inspections and financial burdens. With the postal suspension now in effect, companies are canceling cargo contracts, and maritime routes are being disrupted. The result? A widening rift between two global powers and a deepening sense of isolation for Hong Kong. Geopolitical analysts highlight that Hong Kong's economy depends heavily on exports and re-exports, particularly the transfer of mainland Chinese goods to international markets. A significant and prolonged disruption could mean thousands of idle containers at port terminals and a reorientation of trade routes toward Europe and Asia, an expensive and time-consuming process. Estimates suggest that a complete breakdown in U.S. trade ties could lead to the loss of hundreds of thousands of jobs in sectors ranging from shipping and warehousing to logistics and postal services. Some reports warn that unemployment could affect 500,000 people, not counting the ripple effects on families and ancillary businesses. Given the city's history of political unrest, a surge in joblessness could ignite a new wave of social tension and public protest, prompting fears of deeper instability. While large companies may still manage shipments through special arrangements, the rising costs imposed by over 200% tariffs in certain sectors make the U.S. market increasingly unattractive. One Chamber of Commerce representative warned, "If these tariffs persist, our exports to the U.S. will be nearly wiped out within 3 to 6 months." This escalating trade feud is predicted to cost Hong Kong's economy tens of billions of dollars annually, an immense blow for a city already reeling from declining tourism and a slowing global economy. And while diversifying alternative markets is a logical step, replacing the sheer volume of U.S. trade is no easy feat. The financial sector, Hong Kong's crown jewel, remains cautious. Yet, experts fear a 10 to 15% correction in the stock market as investors react to worsening trade conditions. U.S.-based funds may also reduce their exposure to Hong Kong, compounding market volatility and shaking confidence further. Politically, the confrontation is hardening positions. Hong Kong's leaders have declared that they will not bow to pressure. "We will use every means at our disposal," said one official, in clear alignment with Beijing's stance. This growing synergy between Hong Kong and the Chinese mainland strengthens Washington's claim that Hong Kong no longer merits special trade privileges. Domestic opposition, however, voices concern. Critics argue that cutting ties with the U.S. undermines Hong Kong's global status and jeopardizes its role as a major logistics and financial hub. They worry this is a reckless act of economic self-sabotage. Public opinion remains divided. Some feel dragged into a fight they never wanted. Behind the scenes, some speculate that Washington's tough stance on Hong Kong may be driven by strategic motives or political calculations ahead of upcoming elections. Meanwhile, Hong Kong finds itself constrained by its deep ties to Beijing, limiting its room for independent negotiation. Could this bold stance inspire similar responses from other regions? Unlikely. Hong Kong enjoys the backing of a superpower. Smaller economies may hesitate to challenge the U.S. so directly. Nonetheless, even this limited move has rattled global headlines and dented Washington's image on the diplomatic stage. In conclusion, Hong Kong's decision to partially suspend trade with the U.S., particularly postal and small cargo services, is rich in symbolism and potentially devastating in economic impact. If the standoff stretches beyond 3 months, it may unleash a cascade of consequences: plummeting exports, soaring unemployment, a jittery stock market, and mounting social unrest. And in the process, Hong Kong's unique international status may erode further, accelerating its integration into China's political and economic orbit. While trade wars often end at the negotiating table, entrenched positions on both sides suggest a long road ahead, one that could leave deep and lasting scars on the people and prosperity of Hong Kong.